Larry stuck his head in my office one day and told me his daughter was selling candy bars for her school track team. Shaking his head, he said, "You wouldn't be interested in buying any chocolate bars, would you?" Using a lame question like that in a car dealership was a brilliant use of reverse psychology. What kind of question is that, dude? I love those things. How much are they? You probably won't be surprised to know that year Larry's daughter sold more candy bars than any other kid in her school, all because her dad knew his audience. When it comes to demonstrating vehicles, it's important for you to know your audience too. Asking questions the wrong way can cost you a big chunk of money. So if you want to find out what to avoid and some demonstration questions to latch onto, stick around. I'm Jon Quade, the 5-Minute Coach. The demonstration or test drive is one of the most significant parts of the in-dealership sales process because it's the one step that feels most like ownership to your customers. Despite what you hear from so-called consumer advocates and digital retailers, 3/4 of auto shoppers say the in-dealership experience, including the test drive, is still important to their buying journey. So we need to be prepared to do it right. Like most of the steps in the sales process, the demonstration acts on information we learned in the interview segment, which is why that is far and away the most important part of any in-dealership interaction. Asking questions and referring to the client's answers throughout the sales process. If you haven't yet watched the 5-Minute Coach interviewing segment, put it on your to-do ASAP list. You'll see what I mean. As I mentioned in the video open, you have to invite your customers to drive the vehicle of interest in the right way. Would you like to drive it? Not a good question, because it encourages the shopper to say no. A much better tact is to be assumptive. I'm going to pull the vehicle up front and we'll take it out for a short drive so you can see how you like it. Or, may I get a quick copy of your driver's license? I'm just going to bring the car around front and we can take it for a drive. Be positive, be enthusiastic, and don't necessarily wait for a reply. If for some reason they don't want to drive, don't worry. Your customers will tell you if they don't want to. In the event the customer does say, no, try once more. The last thing I want to do is show you a car that's not going to work for you. Let's just do a short drive, and if you like it, great. If not, then we won't have spent any more time on it. How does that sound? Look, nothing is going to work 100% of the time, but your job is to remain professional no matter what happens. You can always ask a manager or team leader for help if you need it as well. Now let's discuss what should happen on the drive itself. First, whenever possible, number one, you should drive first. It'll be much more familiar to you with all of the information you already have about the vehicle than it will be to your clients. And that allows you to familiarize them with operational items like outside mirrors, external cameras, and steering column adjustments. In addition, you can then drive the vehicle where you want to switch drivers without having to get directions or give directions. Incidentally, if there are multiple drivers, when you're ready to relinquish the driver's seat, simply say, "Who'd like to drive first?" Don't ever assume that someone in a group isn't part of the buying decision. This also works if you're demonstrating a 2-seater vehicle. Who would like to drive first? Next, switch drivers at a predetermined location with a nice backdrop so you can allow your clients to stand back and appreciate how great the vehicle looks. That will probably be the only time they see their new car when it's all alone, away from the dealership, so it can be pretty powerful. When you change drivers, just say, "Hey, come over here for a second. I want to show you something," and stand them back. Then after switching drivers, ask confirmation questions and enjoy some quiet time. Confirmation questions will make sure you're showing them the vehicle they'd like to own, like, will it fit okay in your garage? Or, assuming we can work out the math, does this one feel like it could work for you? At some point say, okay, I've been talking enough. Ask if you have any questions, but if not, I'm just going to be quiet and let you enjoy the ride. Finally, when you get back to the dealership after everyone who wants to has driven, ask 2 final questions, and here they are. Number 1, what surprised you about the vehicle? And number 2, if you had to pick one thing I could do to make you happier with the vehicle, what would it be? The first answer is generally going to be positive, and the second, the hypothetical one, if I could, will let you know if there's anything unsurmountable before you take the next step. Then the only thing left is to transition. Hey, let's go see how this looks on paper. And you're on to the next step in your sales process. Ta-da! That's it for this episode of the 5-Minute Coach. I'm Jon Quade.